Chapter 3 lab, we're going to be doing the probability game of high-low. In order to complete this lab, please make sure that you have printed out your document from your Chapter 3 module for your lab, reviewed it, and that you watched this video. Once you've completed this lab, you will make sure that you go back to your Chapter 3 module and find Chapter 3 lab answer entry sheet where you will enter your answers based on your lab results today. Right, in this lab, we're going to play the card game high-low. The goal of the game is to guess whether the next card is higher or lower than the last one that you were dealt. Since this is a statistics class, we want to use the probabilities to help us make an educated guess on the high or the low. We will play the game with the added element that you will calculate several probabilities before making your high-low guess. We're actually going to do 2 rounds of this game. We're going to play game 1, where we eliminate some of the cards and only play with 10 out of 52. This will make our probabilities a little more simple to deal with in the first game. So the materials that you need will be an optional calculator and, of course, this document. Typically, when playing that high-low game, we will use all 52 cards, excluding the jokers. But as I said, for game 1, we're only going to use 10 cards. So take your standard deck of 52 cards, and I have shuffled them up. After shuffling them, I'm going to draw out 10 cards. Okay, so for game 1, again, we're only using 10 cards in the deck. So counting out those cards, you're going to fill those out in your game 1 boxes in order from least to greatest. So first I'll flip the 10 cards over, call them out, and then we'll put them in order. Those 10 cards are an ace of hearts, a 5 of diamonds, a 2 of clubs, an ace of diamonds, a jack of hearts, a 7 of hearts, an 8 of clubs, a 6 of clubs, a jack of diamonds, and a 5 of clubs. All right, so if we put those in order from least to greatest, we have an ace of diamonds in your box for game 1, first box, ace of hearts in the second box, 2 of clubs in the third box, 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 8 of clubs, jack of diamonds, jack of hearts. Okay, so now you should have your 10 boxes filled out for your game 1. So now we're going to mix those cards up. Keep in mind as you play this game some helpful hints from your lab sheet. We're going to leave these probabilities in fractions because it will make your probabilities a little easier to look at. Also remember that an ace is a low card, or the equivalent of a 1. Okay, so after you have taken your 52 cards, shuffled the deck, and laid them face down, I've set the rest of the deck off to the side. The first card I flipped over is an ace of hearts. So in game 1, under card value that has been flipped over, you will put an ace of hearts. Now we're going to fill out the first row of information. So the probability that the next card is higher. Since I turned over an ace of hearts, we're going to go to our 10 cards that we wrote down. We're going to mark out the ace of hearts so that our sample size is now 9. So the probability that the next card is higher, we're going to count the number of cards to the right of the ace of hearts. And that would be the 2 of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 5 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 8 of clubs, jack of diamonds, and jack of hearts. So altogether, I should have 8 cards out of 9 that I believe are in that probability of next card higher. The probability that the next card is lower, I look to the left, I do not have any cards that are lower than an ace, so I would put 0 over 9 or reduce that to 0. The probability that the next card is of equal value would be the ace of diamonds. That would be 1 card out of 9. All right, so now I'm going to look at my probabilities, use that to take an educated guess in what I believe will be the next card flipped over. Do I believe that my next card will be higher or lower than the ace of hearts? I believe it will be higher. So I'm going to write higher in that next box in the first row. So now I'm going to flip over my second card. My second card was Jack of Diamonds. Go up to your list of 10 cards, mark out the Jack of Diamonds. Your sample size is now 8 cards. That's your denominator for the second row of information. All right, so the probability that the next card is higher, I'm going to look to the right of the Jack of Diamonds. There are no cards higher than the Jack of Diamonds, so that would be 0 out of 8 or 0. Probability that the next card is lower, if I count the cards to the left of the Jack of Diamonds, is going to be 8 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 6 of clubs, 5 of clubs, 5 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, and the ace of diamonds. So altogether I have 7 cards out of 8 that are going to be lower. Probability that the next card is equal value is going to be 1 card out of 8, or that Jack of hearts, okay? Now we also need to go back and fill in first row, last column. Was your guess correct? Remember that we thought we would have a higher card than the ace of hearts. We drew the Jack of Diamonds, so yes, my guess was correct. Okay, so now I'm going to make an educated guess based on the probabilities that I have written in the second row in regards to the Jack of Diamonds. Please pause the video and write down your guess real quick. Alright, so now I'm going to flip over my third card. It is an 8 of clubs. Okay, so put 8 of clubs in your third row, first column, and then pause the video, take a minute and fill out your probabilities of higher, lower, equal value. Fill out what you believe your next guess will be, higher or lower than an 8 of clubs. And also don't forget to go back and write whether your guess was correct or not in the second row. So your next card that we flipped over is a 7 of hearts. In the fourth row, fill out 7 of hearts. Pause the video, take a minute, tell whether your guess was correct or not, and then fill in that fourth row of information about your probabilities and what you believe your next guess will be. Your next card is a 2 of clubs. Again, pause the video and complete the remainder of your chart. The only thing that you will not have an answer in will be the last row, last column. Since we are not drawing a 6th card, you will not know whether your guess was correct or not. Now you need to take a few moments to fill out and answer the questions in regards to Game 1. You have 2 questions below your chart for you to complete and fill out. So pause the video and take a moment to complete those 2 questions. Alright, so for Game 2, we're putting all the cards back together and we're going to use 52 cards in that deck. So we're going to shuffle those cards up real good. Using all 52 cards, we're now going to start Game 2. Game 2 will act just like Game 1. The only difference is that I have a larger sample space with all 52 cards. So you have a diagram of the 52 cards for you to mark out as we go. So for Game 2, we're going to be completing 10 rows of information. The first card I have flipped over out of my 52 cards in the deck is a 3 of hearts. So in Game 2, first row, first column, write 3 of hearts. Let's fill out your probabilities. So since I flipped over a 3 of hearts, we're going to go to the top and we're going to mark out 3 of hearts in my chart. Let's do the probability that we believe the next card will be higher. In that probability, remember you've marked out 1 card, so your denominator is now 51 cards in the sample space. We're going to count the number of cards that are to the right of your 3 of hearts. So that includes all of your 4s, your 4 of hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs, all of your 5s, all of your 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, and kings. So altogether I have 10 columns of information times 4 cards, so that should be 40 cards that are going to be higher than that 3 of hearts. Probability that we are lower. That probability is going to count all cards to the left of the 3 of hearts. That will be your aces of hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs, and your 2s of the same. So we have 2 columns of information at 4 cards each. That should leave me with 8 cards that are lower than that 3 of hearts. So my probability is 8 out of 51. Probability that I have equal cards. Well, I had a 3 of hearts. That leaves me with the 3 of spades, 3 of clubs, and 3 of diamonds. So there's 3 of those, which ends up being 3 out of 51. Next, what is your guess? So take a moment, pause the video, fill out what you believe your guess will be. All right, so in your second row of information, I have flipped over a jack of diamonds. Mark the jack of diamonds out of your cards at the top. Pause the video, take a moment, and complete that row. Also, don't forget to fill out was your guess correct? All right, so your next card that has been flipped over for your third row is the 6 of clubs. Complete was your guess correct? Mark the 6 of clubs out at the top and fill out your row, pausing the video while you do so. The next card I have flipped over is a 5 of spades. Pause the video and complete that row of information. The next card I have flipped over is a king of hearts. Write that in your 5th row. Take a moment, pause the video, and complete your chart. The next card is a 5 of clubs. Pause the video, fill out the remainder of that row. The next card is an 8 of diamonds. Pause the video, taking a moment to fill out your row. The next card I flipped over is an ace of hearts. Pause the video, taking a moment to complete your row. The next card that I flip over is a jack of hearts. Take a moment, pause the video, and complete your chart. The next card I have flipped over is a 7 of hearts. Take just a moment, pause the video, and complete your final row. Again, the only thing that will not have an answer is last row, last column, since we're not drawing an 11th card. Once you've got your chart completed, go ahead and complete your reflection questions, answering those questions based on your information. When you have finished, please go into your Canvas Chapter 3 module and find Chapter 3 Lab Answer Entry Sheet and click on it to enter your answers. Remember, those answers are going to come directly from this lab, so have your completed lab next to you as you begin your work.